Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something real quick. See, in this life, especially when it comes to love, respect, and how people treat you, you're going to learn that sometimes you got to stop telling folks how to treat you and start showing them the consequences when they don't. Now, I ain't saying go crazy on nobody. I'm not saying flip tables, key cars, or burn clothes. No, that ain't classy. That's criminal. I'm saying you teach him by your absence what your presence was worth. Knowing your worth is one of the most powerful lessons you could ever learn in life. It's the foundation for everything that follows. In how you carry yourself, the relationships you engage in, and how you let others treat you. People often fall into the trap of over-explaining or repeatedly telling others how they should treat them, hoping for validation and respect in return. But let me tell you, the real power lies in showing your worth, not just talking about it. I says, when you know your worth, you don't have to convince anyone. Your presence, actions, and energy speak for themselves. Your worth isn't determined by how much you give or how much you sacrifice for others. It's determined by your character, your ability to set boundaries, and your commitment to yourself. You love yourself enough to know that you deserve respect, kindness, and effort from those around you. It's about learning to value yourself first and foremost. And when you do that, you're settling for anything less than what you deserve. It's easy to get caught up in trying to prove yourself to others, but when you understand your own value, you stop looking for approval. You don't need to chase anyone or constantly remind them of your worth. You carry it with you and your actions reflect it. People will either rise to the occasion or they will fall away. And that's exactly how it should be. You don't have to force it. Your worth will always shine through, and those who recognize it will stick around. When someone starts ignoring your worth, it's time to stop talking about it and start showing them the consequences. We often think that explaining ourselves repeatedly, trying to justify why we deserve better, or demanding respect will make a difference. But in reality, the most powerful thing you can do when someone fails to recognize your value is to simply remove yourself from the equation. People don't always understand what they have until it's no longer available to them. The best way to teach someone the price of ignoring you is by making them feel the absence of your presence. Think about it. When someone consistently ignores you, disrespects your time, or takes you for granted, they believe they can continue doing so without facing any consequences. They think they can continue treating you however they want because they assume you'll always be there. But the moment you decide that enough is enough and create distance, they'll begin to realize what they lost. This absence is not about seeking revenge. It's about teaching them that there is a cost to taking someone like you for granted. Removing yourself from the situation doesn't mean you need to be dramatic or seek attention. It's about quietly withdrawing your energy, time, and effort. The power of absence is that it often speaks louder than words. When you no longer show up for them, when you no longer reach out, when you stop giving them the attention they've gotten used to, that's when the message hits home. People who have been used to having you around, always at their disposal, will suddenly start to feel the void that your presence once filled. And trust me, that void will make them take notice. This shift is important because it forces them to reflect on their behavior. They may try to make excuses or come up with reasons why they acted the way they did. They may even reach out, hoping to reestablish the connection they once had with you, but by then you've already made your point. You've shown them the true cost of ignoring you, and it's a lesson that can't be easily forgotten. The power of absence also teaches you something about yourself. It shows you that your value doesn't need to be proved. You don't have to chase people, plead with them, or beg for their attention. When you start creating space and stepping back from relationships that drain you or don't appreciate you, you're not only teaching others a lesson, you're teaching yourself the importance of self-respect and boundaries. You're demonstrating that you will no longer settle for anything less than what you deserve. It is crucial to recognize that this isn't about playing games or manipulating others. It's simply about understanding that people will treat you as you allow them to. If someone can't see your worth when it's in front of them, make them feel what it's like to be without it. Your absence is a natural consequence of their actions, and it will send a clear message that your time, energy, and love are not to be taken for granted. In the end, the lesson you're teaching is one of self-respect. You are showing them that you value yourself enough not to settle for anything less than being treated with respect and appreciation. And once they feel the weight of your absence, they'll be reminded of just how much you brought to their life. If they ever truly understand that, they'll make sure not to ignore you again. It's easy to fall into the trap of settling for less, especially when you're someone who believes in giving your all to others. You want to be there for people, help them and show them love. But sometimes that desire to be kind and generous can lead to you accepting things that are beneath you. It's important to recognize that you are not a backup plan, and you certainly shouldn't be anyone's afterthought. You deserve to be valued, appreciated, and prioritized, not treated like an option when everything else falls through. The key to living with this awareness is understanding that you are worthy of someone's full attention and effort, not just when it's convenient for them. The first step in making sure you don't settle for less is setting clear standards for yourself. You have to stop allowing people to treat you like a convenience, something they can turn to when it suits them. You are not a filler in someone's life. You are not meant to be a placeholder while they figure out other things. If someone truly values you, they will make time for you, they will put effort into the relationship, and they will respect you enough to treat you as a priority. If you find yourself constantly being the one to initiate conversations, plan events, or be there when no one else is, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. You shouldn't have to chase people down for their attention. Respect and effort should be mutual, not something you have to beg for. You must also recognize your own value in this equation. Too often we make excuses for others' poor behavior or convince ourselves that if we just do more, show up more, or sacrifice more, people will finally see how much we care. But that kind of mindset can leave you exhausted, disappointed, and undervalued. The truth is, no matter how much you give, if someone isn't giving the same effort in return, you are simply setting yourself up for hurt. You cannot force people to respect or appreciate you. You can only control how you respond to their behavior. And if they consistently show you that they don't appreciate you, you have every right to step back and reevaluate what you deserve. You deserve someone who will make you feel seen and heard. You deserve someone who won't just come to you when it's convenient, but will be there for you when you need them too. Settling for less means allowing people to take you for granted, and that is never something you should accept. You need to demand the same level of respect and care that you give. If you find yourself constantly being second or third on someone's priority list, then it's time to stop treating them like they're first in yours. When you stop settling for less, you start attracting the right people who are ready to match your energy. You stop wasting time on relationships that drain you, and you make space for the ones that uplift and support you. You stop playing the role of the one who always gives, and instead you become someone who expects to receive the same level of commitment, respect, and love that you give out. Recognizing that you are not an afterthought forces you to prioritize your own needs and well-being. It's about showing up for yourself the way you've always shown up for others and never settling for less than you deserve. The key to not settling for less is self-respect and knowing that you are worthy of love, attention, and effort. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. It's already there. You just have to stop allowing people to treat you like an option and start teaching them that you deserve to be treated as a priority. Once you start demanding that level of respect, you'll find that you no longer have to settle for less because the right people will see your value and treat you accordingly. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to protect your peace, your time, and your energy. Too often we think that in order to maintain relationships, we have to be constantly available and accommodating. We tell ourselves that if we don't give people what they want, they'll leave or get upset with us. But the truth is, allowing people to treat us however they want without setting boundaries only leads to resentment, burnout, and a lack of self-respect. By setting boundaries, you are teaching others how to treat you while also showing yourself the self-respect and care you deserve. Setting boundaries doesn't mean shutting people out or being cold-hearted. It means recognizing what you are willing to accept and what you are not. It's about drawing a line between your needs and others' wants, making sure that your own emotional, mental, and physical well-being comes first. When you fail to set boundaries, you allow others to dictate how much of your time and energy is given to them. You risk becoming drained, overwhelmed, and frustrated because you've been putting everyone else's needs before your own. You might start to feel like you're constantly sacrificing for others, but nobody is doing the same for you. This leads to feelings of resentment, and ultimately, the relationship becomes one-sided. It's important to recognize that you are allowed to say no without feeling guilty or selfish. Saying no isn't a reflection of how much you care about someone. It's a way to preserve your own energy. When you set boundaries, you are communicating to others that you value yourself enough to protect your time and emotional space. The key is to be firm but kind. You don't need to explain yourself over and over again. You simply need to stand by your decision and show up for yourself the same way you would show up for others. Over time, people will begin to respect your boundaries and understand that your time is valuable. Creating boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first because we're often afraid of how others will react. We fear that people will be upset or think we're selfish. But the reality is, when you allow others to walk all over you, you're not doing anyone any favors. You're teaching them that it's okay to treat you poorly. You're also teaching yourself that your needs aren't important. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, and it's necessary for maintaining healthy, balanced relationships. By saying no when necessary, you are showing people how much you value yourself. It's also crucial to remember that setting boundaries isn't about punishing people or getting revenge. It's simply about protecting your peace. You can love someone deeply and still choose to set limits when their behavior begins to cross a line. When you set boundaries, you allow space for healthier relationships where respect and understanding are mutual. Boundaries help foster trust and open communication because people will know where you stand and what's important to you. And that clarity benefits everyone involved. Moreover, setting boundaries allows you to focus on the things that truly matter When you stop overextending yourself for others, you make room for your own growth, happiness, and well-being. You can focus on your goals, pursue your passions, and take care of your mental health without the constant pressure to meet everyone else's needs first. It's about striking a balance that honors both your needs and the needs of others. And while it might feel awkward at first to say no or take a step back from certain situations, it becomes easier over time. Eventually, you'll realize that you've created a life where you're not just reacting to other people's demands, you're living intentionally with your own priorities and well-being at the center. Setting boundaries is not only about protecting yourself from others, but also about protecting your own energy and happiness. By creating those lines, you invite healthier, more balanced relationships into your life, and you show others the respect you expect in return. It's one of the most effective ways to teach people how to treat you, and it's a vital part of maintaining your own self-worth. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to teaching someone the consequences of taking you for granted. In a world full of noise, constant texts, calls, social media updates, and never-ending explanations, choosing silence can be louder than any words you could speak. When you stop responding, when you stop engaging, when you pull back your energy from someone who didn't value it, you send a clear message. You notice their absence of effort, and now you're giving them a taste of their own. Most people don't realize what they have until it's gone. When someone has constant access to you, your love, support, time, they can start thinking it's automatic, like you're always supposed to be there. They get used to the good morning text, the encouragement, the way you check in when they're feeling low. But the moment you go silent, the moment those little things stop, they feel the shift, and it hits different. That quiet, that's when they start asking themselves questions they never bothered with before. Why hasn't she called? Why didn't he respond? Did I do something wrong? And suddenly, your silence becomes the loudest conversation they've ever had. You don't have to announce your departure. You don't need to send a long message explaining why you're done. Just stop showing up. Stop engaging in conversations that drain you. Stop chasing the people who make you feel like you're asking for too much just because you want to be treated with basic respect. That quiet distance will say everything for you. It tells them that you're no longer available for half effort, for temporary affection, or for being someone's last-minute plan. And here's the beauty of silence. It gives you power. It gives you space to focus on your own healing and growth. While they're sitting there trying to figure out why the energy shifted, you're building yourself back up. You're reconnecting with your self-worth. You're reminding yourself that you were never hard to love. They just didn't know how to do it right. Eventually, if they realize their mistake, they may come back. They may apologize. They may try to resume what was. But by then, your silence may have done something even more important. It may have reminded you of your own value, that you don't need to beg for attention, that your peace is worth more than their inconsistency. That sometimes the best way to teach someone the price of ignoring you is to let them sit in the quiet you leave behind. Because silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength. And when used right, it's unforgettable. When someone starts to ignore you, it can feel like a punch to the gut. You start questioning what went wrong, what you did or didn't do, and why you're suddenly on the receiving end of silence or indifference. But the truth is, in situations like these, you don't have to get angry, confused, or frustrated. The best way to handle it, the most powerful thing you can do, is to teach them the price of ignoring you. And sometimes the most effective way to do that is simply to walk away and allow them to feel the consequences of their actions. When you stop reaching out, stop making the effort to stay in touch, stop being the one who always initiates the conversations, it sends a message. It tells them that your time and energy aren't free to be taken for granted. People often don't realize the importance of something until they no longer have it. When you pull back, when you remove your attention and your presence, they begin to feel the void you once filled in their life. They may not realize it right away, but over time, the absence of your love, your support, and your energy will hit them, and at that moment, they'll start to understand the true price of ignoring you. And let's be honest, when you teach someone the price of ignoring you, you're also teaching yourself something incredibly valuable. You are reminding yourself of your own worth. You are showing yourself that you will no longer settle for being treated as an option. You will no longer put your time, energy, and heart into relationships that don't give you the same respect and effort. This process of stepping back is a declaration that you are worthy of consistency, communication, and equal effort in return. Now, don't get me wrong. If they truly care, they will eventually come back and want to restore the relationship. They may reach out, ask what happened, or apologize for their behavior, but by the time that happens, you will have already taught them that you won't tolerate being ignored. And that's a lesson they won't soon forget. You will have demonstrated that your worth is not negotiable, and your presence is not something to be taken for granted. In the end, the real price of ignoring you isn't about a temporary distance or silence. It's about realizing that relationships require effort from both sides. It's about learning that if you can walk away, so can they. And when they understand that, they'll think twice before ever ignoring you again. Your absence will remind them just how valuable you are. And that's a lesson worth learning.